Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, Mark Holmes here, of course, my buddy Cowboy Joe Booth, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Booth Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let's wake up the football gods here on this finally freaking Friday. I was not here yesterday, and man, I just hate being away from home. You know, this is my fortress of solitude. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do to survive because, you know, we all got to pay those bills. Speaking of paying those bills, I believe that maybe I'm going to start a new playlist. What stupid crap did Stephen Jones do now? Because it's crazy that here we are, it's just Friday. When you go through all of the stuff that has transpired for the Cowboys, it's crazy. Doesn't Amari Cooper feel like that was months ago? Guys, that was just this weekend. It wasn't even a week ago. But before I get into all of the stuff that Stephen Jones has done, let me give you the da-da-dunt, da-da-dunt, damn Gina. And also, too, I ask you guys, instead of copying ESPN, because I know somebody's going to go out there and make a video, Mark Holmes is copying the ESPN soundtrack. We need to have a sound for the damn Gina report. Okay, so think about something, some kind of, you know, sound effect that's catching or whatever. You know, we could actually set it up here on the sound deck so we can do the Gina report. So every time we have breaking news, shout out to her, Cam Billings, and Miss Jackie, and Stacy Schubert, and Greg. I mean, there's too many of y'all. And Stewart. Oh, can't forget Stewart. Stewart is literally like, you know, I always call him Mr. Wolf because he is like Mr. Wolf. Because when Mr. Wolf is on the thing, shit happens good. Anyway, Gina late last night, let me know that because the Rams have signed Allen Robinson, they got him back in the fold and stuff, they're receiving calls. They're beginning to get calls about Robert Woods. So, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you got to figure he's got to be somebody in your wheelhouse. You'd have to trade for him, and he's got an injured ACL, which seems to be the kind of players that the Dallas Cowboys are interested in locking in. Anyway, we have some more news developing here. It's beginning to look more and more like, not as in Kellen Moore, but more and more like the Atlanta Falcons are going to be getting Deshaun Watson. They made a big move this morning in basically delaying the roster bonus for Matt Ryan to go till next week. This gives them more of a chance for him to try and develop a trade. Let's actually go to Get Up, and we'll talk about it after that.
News from Atlanta this morning. Our Adam Schefter reporting the Falcons and Matt Ryan have agreed to push back the due date on a $7.5 million roster bonus that was due today. They've pushed it back to Tuesday. And in Schefter's explanation, this gives Matt Ryan, the legendary longtime quarterback in Atlanta, 4 extra days to vet his trade options. Thankfully, I have my general manager right next to me. What should we be reading from the fact that they have pushed this deadline back?
Matt Ryan's gone, period. They're not going to move it back and say, oh, by the way, on Tuesday, we really want you here. So you're looking and we're looking at Deshaun Watson. You're presumably talking to the Cleveland Browns. Who's their quarterback? Some guy named Baker Mayfield. And the Indianapolis Colts. So what's happening right now is they're going to assess their options. And what's really great for Atlanta, you're going to probably come out of this maybe with a first-round pick, because the Cleveland Browns and the Indianapolis Colts, 2 teams that have really good teams right now that want to win right now, Greeny, will see Matt Ryan as an unexpected opportunity. And when that happens, you're going to pay a premium. The Colts don't have a first-round pick this year. Maybe it's a 2 this year and a 1 next year. The Browns will be all in because they have a really good team. And now all of a sudden, by Tuesday, I would be very surprised if Matt Ryan was a Falcon on Tuesday.
And so let's do all of the math of that. It also means that they have reason to strongly believe they're going to get Deshaun Watson.
Right. If we were running the Falcons, we would not go to Matt Ryan and say, we want to move this back till Tuesday and then expect him to be the quarterback. So someone knows something about how close they are to getting Deshaun Watson.
And it's worth pointing out again that Kyle Pitts, the star tight end there in Atlanta, posted something about how scary they're going to be and then took it down, and that he and Deshaun Watson have the same agent. That happened yesterday. So if we're reading tea leaves, and we're not reporting, but we're kind of putting 2 and 2 together, it sounds like there's a real chance Deshaun Watson's going to Atlanta. And then where do you think Matt Ryan should want to go if you were in his shoes, Canty?
I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts. Top 10 offense, top 10 defense, 2 years in a row. And if you look at Frank Reich, they've had a different starting quarterback each of the 4 years he's been there. They've made the playoffs twice, and 3 out of those 4 years they've had a winning record. So it seems like it makes all the sense in the world to go to a team that has an offensive line that's built like a brick wall and a defense to support you with playmakers at all 3 levels. So I think by far the Indianapolis Colts are a better organization than the Cleveland Browns. There's been more stability there, and that means that's the best landing spot for Matt Ryan.
Kmart, what do you think?
I would say Colts. If I'm Matt Ryan, get me out of Atlanta, because here it's clear that you want Deshaun Watson. Okay, I'll go to
Colts versus Browns.
Colts versus Browns. See, here's the thing with Deshaun. Like, if this is really about football, like the Browns are a good option. Like, if you look at the roster, you talk about organization. The people that run the organization now didn't draft Baker Mayfield. This is a different regime. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about roster, you said it the last segment, the Colts and the Browns, like they pretty much have a playoff caliber roster, like weapons. All you need is a quarterback. So I would pick Indy just because of the division is easier. That's the only difference.
Let me get Nico in there. If you're Matt Ryan and you're looking at those 2 options, and you're thinking, look, the only thing I've not accomplished in my career, he's got an MVP, he's made a ton of money. The one thing he hasn't done is win a Super Bowl, and he was so painfully close in a game, Nico, that you remember well because you played in it.
Yes, sorry.
Which of those 2 places do you think Ryan has a better chance to win it next year, Indy or Cleveland?
I'm going with Indy. And I said earlier in the
Easier
show
division.
that both of these teams want the same thing and exactly what Matt Ryan can give them, and that's a accurate passer down the field on 3rd down. You know, if you're both of these teams, you've had quarterbacks that can hand the ball off. What you need is somebody that can complete a pass accurately down the field and also observe what the defense is showing you and check to the appropriate play. You know, this past season, both of those teams had to kind of babysit the quarterback and help them in those decision-making processes. You know, Matt Ryan is your prototypical pocket quarterback, old school guy that can make all the checks. He can run the offense. He's been in the league so long, and I've played against him many times. He is a really hard quarterback to prepare for because he's that smart. So, you know, if I'm the Colts, I'm going after Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan, you know, obviously he's a dome team guy. He's been in a dome. He's played inside his whole career. He goes to Cleveland. He's playing in the elements. He's playing outside. It might be raining and cold, and I just think it's a better fit for him to go to a dome team. Indianapolis, they have the running game. You know, they have the offensive line. They have the defense. It's all set up for Matt Ryan to go there and be successful.
I like it. Canty.
And Greeny, just to put a bow on this Colts point, the Colts right now have the most cap space of any team in the National Football League. So if you're Matt Ryan, if you do get traded there, there's the opportunity to be involved in the process of putting the supporting cast around you that's going to allow you to play up to your potential. And that's important for a quarterback that's in his late 30s.
So give me the finishing touch here. How are you handling this? If you're the GMs here, how are you playing this right this minute?
Well, if it's really an arms race. He's like the last best guy, so I'm not getting off the phone if I'm Chris Ballard or if I'm Andrew Berry from the Colts and the Browns. Now, the guy that has most risk right now is the Falcons, because what happens if they don't get Watson and he goes to the Saints, and now you're so far down the road with Matt Ryan leaving, now all of a sudden you may not have a quarterback and you don't have great options.
Well, that's why I began the conversation by asking you, does this, the fact that they pushed this back super quickly, does that suggest to you they think or even know they're getting Deshaun?
Yes, because there's no other options.
That's what I think as well. All right, look, as you can obviously tell, this might be the busiest Football Friday we've ever had, and we have a ton
This is
more
gonna be
coming
crazy
in our next hour.
All right, so all these damn scams. Let's go to our capologist here at Joe Booth Sports. And as we look here, Stephen Jones is moving up. He's moving up the cap room because here's what's crazy. Take a look at this. Like they said, the Colts, if they get Matt Ryan, boom, they're going to be dropping below us. They're going to be dropping below us hard and fast, okay? The Panthers, they got $34 million. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get an upgrade as far as Deshaun Watson goes. They at least got to talk to him. Seattle Seahawks, of course, they're looking for a quarterback as well. The Jets with 31, the Chargers with 30, the Bears with 30, and the Raiders with 28. Now, I don't know if that Raiders number includes Devontae Adams, but if it doesn't, that, of course, is going to – it can't include Devontae Adams. It must not be finalized yet because they're going to drop. So the Cowboys will move up some. But the Dallas Cowboys, because of Stephen Jones's hard work, they got a card, an ace card there, and that's Lyle Collins. Instead of getting a trade done, we actually have a post-June 1st cut, so we got another $10 million. So technically, if you really want to look at this, the Cowboys are really sitting there in second place in the offseason cap race. It could be that the Dallas Cowboys are the Super Bowl capologist champions because of good old Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones, he's a player. He is a player. So today, we'll find out what stupid thing that Stephen Jones has done today to help win that offseason capology Super Bowl. Yesterday, we heard that the pattern of Stephen Jones of lowballing people continues. So now I'm messed up because somebody tried to phonetically send it to me how to pronounce it out. Understand, listen, I sucked in English, okay? My grades were terrible. Math, they're real good, as you can tell when I woodworking and all that. I can't pronounce names. I can literally say it right 20 times today and get it wrong tomorrow. I still will say frustrated, and my wife will just be like shaking her head. And I just don't know the difference. So if you're going to be part of the Joe Boo Sports Report, understand I'm going to butcher up your name and player's name. So Zavaris Smith, and I know it's screwed up, okay? I know it's screwed up, but that's just what you get here. I'm the name butcher. It turns out the Cowboys had him on the hook. They were out there fishing for him, you know, had him hooked. All they had to do was reel him in. But the problem was they didn't put any bait on the hook. Stephen Jones lowballed him. And in the same way, when he lowballed DeMarcus Lawrence was like, just release me. You're going to insult me like that. Just release me. He went to Baltimore, and fortunately, Stephen Jones is going to get a second chance. Stephen Jones is going to get a second chance. I don't know if we get him or not. But I pray that if we are going to be trying to sell out and get Bobby Wagner, that Stephen Jones is nowhere in the room. You can't have Stephen Jones as part of the negotiations on these things. I am honestly looking, okay? And I tell you, if you can find, other than the Johnny Manziel, allegedly he took the card away, I can't honestly find anything that you can point your finger to and say, that's Stephen Jones. He's a genius. I can't. I want to be able to say, hey, I got a great front office with the Cowboys. Hey, I'm confident that they're going to be able to build a team. Hey, they're going to do the right thing for us fans. I can't honestly believe any of that. Not when I look at a daily basis. Now, let's be clear. It's been every single day that something comes out that is not fabricated by the media. You can't make this shit up. You can't make Randy Gregory, ready to sign, and then you slip in an extra cause and he bolts. It's not every day that you end up annihilating one of the few bright spots that you have in free agency to the point where he deletes every mention of the Dallas Cowboys on Instagram. It's not every day that you end up having a Pro Bowl punter and you say, we can't afford him, and yet you have the 8th most amount of money in free agency and cap space. It's not every day that you get teased where a player really wants to come here, not one but two, and you lowball them or you don't even make an offer. This guy's, and that you take a Pro Bowl wide receiver, you devalue him to the point where you're lucky to get a 5th-round pick, it's not every day that you take a starting right tackle and you get nothing for him. All of these things are little bits, little bites. It's kind of like it's death by 1,000 cuts. All these little things are things that are making the Dallas Cowboys slowly die for the 22 season. It's not too late to save the body, but when the piranha, one takes a little bite, that one bite's not going to kill you. That one bite from that one piranha is not going to kill you. But when you get 100 bites, you bleed to death. And right now, we've had a couple little chunks taken out of us. We got to get out the water, or else we will die from all of these cuts. So we'll see what happens the rest of the day. You know, it's still early, so there's plenty of time for something stupid to be done by Stephen Jones. And we're going to keep a bright eye. We're going to keep an eye on here because we may see some of these numbers drop here. Cowboys may be moving up, and we may have that Capology Super Bowl. And with that being said, you know we'll have the Damn Gina report, and we'll do that breaking news when it comes. So with that being said, you know how we roll.
Our Colts here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the show for the sports report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about